Between 500 and 1500 CE, the entire Europe was engulfed by dark ages after the fall of the Roman Empire. It was plagued by religious conflicts, by crusades and witch hunt, rampant diseases with high mortality and barbarian invasions, cultural stagnation and dire living conditions. And yet, amidst this entire chaos, a voice of determination emerged in Baghdad. Harun al-Rashid declared before his people, "We will build hospitals unlike any the world has ever seen before." He said, "We cannot achieve success without thinking about our poor people, and we must look after their well-being." Committed to the welfare of the people, he envisioned a new era of healthcare. And thus began the construction of the biggest, most sophisticated hospitals the world had ever seen till that time. In fact, these hospitals would dwarf some of our modern day hospitals. But why did they have to build these hospitals? What were these hospitals like? And most importantly, how our modern day hospitals directly descended from the groundbreaking designs of the ancient Baghdad. We will answer all these questions in today's video. There were many reasons why these hospitals were built. For the sake of simplicity, we've shortlisted 5 reasons that are most important behind building these hospitals. The 4th reason is so unique that you will never imagine that this could be the reason why hospitals were built in the ancient Baghdad. Before we move forward, I want to ask you a quick question. Are you looking to form a connection with Allah? If yes, then you know the best way to do so is Quran. There are so many of us who dream of writing Quran one day. What if I were to tell you that you can start writing Quran within minutes? How, you ask? This is where our Tracing Quran ebook comes in. What is Complete Quran ebook? This is an ebook with grayed out ayah which you can write on using pencils and pen whenever you want. This ebook is based on Uthmani Quran, which means it is 100% authentic. You or your children or your sisters or anyone in your family or friends can write Quran the moment you order it. Because this is an ebook, it comes with 100% flexibility of printing whenever you want, however you want, how many ever times you want. Let's say you want to write Surah Yasin 5 times. That is possible with our Tracing Quran ebook. Just get 5 prints and start writing. No restrictions. And because this is an ebook, you can get it downloaded within minutes of ordering. Begin your journey today and start earning rewards for every letter you write. You can order the ebook from the first link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. In Islamic society, there was a strong moral and religious obligation to provide for the sick and look after them. And this was regardless of their financial status or background, allowing them to avail modern and advanced treatments. Hospitals in Baghdad featured specialized departments for different medical disciplines such as ophthalmology, orthopedic, maternity ward, surgical centers, etc. And this allowed for modern and advanced treatments of a specific ailment. These hospitals served as specialized teaching units with libraries and lecture halls where students could come and learn from their doctors and doctors could further their knowledge. And this helped advance the practice of medicine. A separate hospital was established specifically for prisoners on the advice of the vizier at that time. Ali ibn Isa ibn Jarrah ibn Thabit was the vizier who recommended that prisoners should have their own doctors. Care for prisoners? Who does that? Remember, we're talking about the 9th century here. Baghdad grew in size rapidly under the Abbasid Caliphate. And as a result, they needed a proper healthcare system to look after their entire population. Now, one would say there were hospitals earlier, like ancient Indian history or Greek history. For this, we need to understand what a hospital really is. There is no declining the fact that patients were treated earlier, of course. That is indeed true. But these were isolated treatments. If someone was ill, he or she would visit the physician and the physician would give a certain prescription. However, there is no account whatsoever to show that there were specialized centers where patients were admitted, treated and cured, and then discharged. Plus, these places did not have any specific wards for one particular ailment like surgery or maternity ward or orthopedic center or even psychiatric center. But the first hospitals of Baghdad had all of these and much more. Like I said earlier, these hospitals were not merely a place to treat the ill. These were centers for learning and innovation. Unlike the earlier built infirmaries, these were purpose-built centers with separate wards for different ailments. And leading these institutions were renowned physicians and doctors who are etched in the annals of history. One of the foremost physicians of that time was Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Zakaria ar-Razi, or commonly known as Ar-Razis in the Western world. And his pioneering work in treatment of the patient and caring for the patient with compassion set the standards for the world to follow. In these hospitals, patient care was paramount. High standards of hygiene was enforced. Every effort was made to look after the comfort and well-being of the patient. This point is mostly overlooked, but if you've ever been to a hospital, you know just how important it is to be compassionate with patient. It could be a do or die situation, and the way a physician behaves with the patient can be make or break. Unlike any other dynasty, the Islamic Caliphate looked after this and treated the patient without any discrimination like caste, creed, religion, etc. They maintained that every patient needs to be treated equally. Even if the patient could not afford medication and was poor, he or she was given the same treatment. As we saw in the previous points, these hospitals were huge, treating patients of different ailments. However, these were also research centers, providing training and research on treatment of any particular disease. And this actually laid the foundations of hospitals being treated as institutions and research centers. We all know how our Prophet emphasized the importance of being hygienic. The same was carried out by the hospitals in Baghdad. In fact, the process followed to pick a spot where hospital would be built was unique in itself. Ar-Razi would go around the corners of the city looking for places that was not too crowded. He would then do something unique. He would cut off fresh piece of meat and hang there. He would repeat this process at all different corners of the city where he found the place could be apt and less crowded. He would leave the meat there for a few days, then return and observe how much has the meat rotted. The place where the meat rotted the least was considered apt for hospital. I mean, imagine how innovative that is. Quite frankly, it is ingenious. Have you ever heard of such a process being carried out by any physician to decide where the hospital should be built? And once built, these hospitals maintain extremely high level of cleanliness to ensure the patient does not catch any infection. Before hospitals in Baghdad, an entrance exam to qualify as a physician was absolutely unheard of. Anyone with basic knowledge could become a doctor, but not in Baghdad. That would happen only if the physician treating the patient was highly qualified. And that brings me to a very important point. Gaining admission in these hospitals as a physician was not an easy task. You had to have comprehensive knowledge of the body structure. One had to undergo a rigorous process of training and learning. In fact, Baghdad was the first city in the world that started the entrance exam for a physician if that person wanted to be a physician in the hospital. And you would get entry only after you clear that entrance exam. We're talking about 9th century here, keep that in mind. And eventually, two qualities were considered before taking in a physician. Number one, deep understanding of medicine. Number two, compassion towards the patients, thereby serving the humanity. One can debate that expert level treatment was being carried out before the 8th or 10th century, when Ar-Rashid laid foundations of these hospitals. True, but not on a regular basis. We do have accounts of surgeries being carried out, but these are all scattered and at best debatable. What's not controversial though was these were the first buildings and structures that qualified to be called hospitals. And these became the reason why European society accepted that this should be the way forward if we want to treat patients properly, and supposedly gave the world the hospitals we know today. While it is okay to revere Europeans for Renaissance, we must not forget that we laid the foundations on which they built their structures. My brothers and sisters, remember your history before it is completely wiped out. And we know the process of wiping it out has already begun. If you like this video, do share it with your friends, and also check out how Muslims discovered coffee and also invented advanced astrolabes. And do not forget to like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And finally, do get your copy of the complete Tracing Quran ebook. That's the first link in the description. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.